Dude, so it's early December, and here we are recording the Four Students podcast. So welcome to the Four Students podcast. It's me, Ed, and everyone's favorite Kelly.
What's up?
Today's really, really cool.
Yes, very much.
And I say that every time. I'm pumped.
You're pumped to have.
I'm pumped to have this individual on the podcast. But yes, getting into the stuff that we get into today with Dr. Samantha Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
She's so impressive, number one. Like, I think what she's accomplished, and she doesn't even say it, but like bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, her PhD, has her own practice here in Charlotte. But just a really very cool, very, I don't know, relatable, like
Very relatable. Like
Yeah.
to have all of those things on her resume.
right. Yeah.
She's
Have this-
very personable, very relatable, very chill.
Yeah.
Feels like you can say whatever you want to her,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be met with like high intellect. Like,
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, yeah,
But
that kind of stoicism, or that kind of like, not coldness necessarily, but almost there's this.
Traditional, I don't know.
Yeah, there is a formality, maybe is what it
Right.
is. Yeah, it's like sometimes when you speak to really highly educated people, they don't seem as human, or like, can I joke in front of this person? Or are they, yeah, I don't know. And she's
Everyone will see quickly how that's
very
not.
quickly how relatable and how human she is. It's really, really cool. But so it's going to be a great episode. But how are you? What's going on in the Shope world? You've had family in town for a little bit.
Yeah. My in-laws were in town. I don't know if I feel like I've shared that they're on the road in their RV.
I don't know if you have on here or not. I knew that, obviously.
They sold their house in Ohio and they bought this huge RV.
It is a palace. I got a tour of it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it is a
They planted it in our driveway for 10 days.
It was great.
And they were our neighbors for
Yeah.
the weekend before Thanksgiving through Thanksgiving. And then they left yesterday
Yeah.
to head to Florida for the winter,
Much warmer there.
staying at like a place every month until March. And then they're going to head towards Alaska.
Yeah. I guess that would be a time as this thing starts thawing out up there. Hopefully they take a long time getting up
They will.
there, because it won't be thawed by the time they get there otherwise.
But they don't want to they want to stay in for like 2 and 3 week
yes.
stays
spot.
in each spot.
I
So
love
they'll
that.
drive a couple states, stay for 3 weeks. And then by the time it gets to June or
Yeah.
July, they'll be in.
They'll be in Alaska. Yeah. When you want to be in Alaska.
Mhm.
And I'm sure, sorry, anyone Alaskans listening, but I'm sure you say it's beautiful year round. But I mean, these people are from Ohio and they are used to some like deep, hard winters.
They
They know
definitely
Alaskan
don't
winters,
want-
but they don't want more of that.
They don't want more of that. They're
Yeah,
escaping.
They're good with that right now, for now. And it's funny, the older people get, I think the more they want to escape the cold. I think you feel cold more the older you get.
I just don't understand how I love the cold.
I know. And I like it. I'm comfortable with it. But it's so funny. Like, yeah, my wife's dad, it's like he'll visit here. And he visited here even, I can't remember. It was in August maybe, or maybe it was September. I don't remember when it was, but we drove up to somewhere, and we drove up to Boone, and it was like, I think in the 60s up there. He's like, it is freezing. I'm like, and he lives in the villages in Florida, like this city-sized retirement community,
Right.
and where it's warm all the time. And he literally goes to the pool every single day. That's like part of his routine. So yeah, but
I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out. Yeah, they're pumped to head down to Florida. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna be.
What about you?
That. Yeah, we are. It's so wild. So my oldest is graduating college. Like, I don't feel old. Number one, I don't feel old. Everyone knows that about me. That I am still like, I don't know how old I am inside, but I'm definitely not 52.
Hey,
inside.
but your Spotify.
Yes, my Wrapped or
your
whatever. My
listening
listening age is
is-
24.
Do you want to know what mine was?
Let me guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess yours was younger than mine. I'm gonna guess yours was like 18. 16, 14. How old are you?
It was literally 6, 7.
You're 67.
Yes, and
I'm trying to think. What does that mean you're listening to? Are you listening to a lot of like 60s and 70s stuff?
I mean, I do enjoy a throwback for sure. Like, I have a whole playlist. Like, our road trip playlist is all old stuff.
Like 80? I'm trying to think.
Like
what is?
80s.
I'm trying to determine how they.
Mostly
Is this kind of
80s
like
and
'cause
70s.
you
Like,
really
I love,
do-
like, beach music.
Okay, we'll get back to that. Put a little note right there, a little
Okay,
flag on
all right,
beach
all right.
music.
Mhm.
But I think the music we identify with, and some of our listeners, most of them are moms, probably. I'm guessing is who listens to our podcast, but some students maybe, or maybe there's some guys out there listening. The music that we listen to, like in high school, late high school, and college, I feel like is the music that has stuck with me and seems to stick with a lot of people. That's the music that are like, oh, that's the music I grew up with. So it's kind of embedded. And is that how Spotify is determining how old you are? Is like the era of music you would have been listening to if when you were in your like late teens and early 20s?
I don't know. I did have, it was like, I can't even, I took a screenshot of it. I might pull it out in a second, but it was your most interesting listening day.
Oh yeah.
It was at the end. There was like 5 different little folders and I clicked on it and it was like April 12th. You started the day with Hamilton.
Wow. They're really digging in.
And then by the end of the day, you had gone full blown early 2000s with Rihanna and like all these different things. I was like, oh yeah. I kind of remember that day.
That's so funny. That sounds to me, knowingly, that sounds like any day for you.
That's true. But my top artist was Taylor Swift.
Okay, that doesn't surprise.
And my top song was Mystical Magical by Benson Boone.
Oh, funny.
So both of those two, I just don't understand how those can be my top and then I can be 67.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, this library, other stuff. Tell me what beach music is. I know what yacht rock is. I mean, you're talking about like
beach oldies, like
the Beach Boys,
like
this Motown kind of stuff, or like 60s Beach Boys, Monkees. Who else is beach music? I'm like
all of those people.
What's his name? The Parrot Heads guy, Margaritaville.
Oh, Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
Kenny Chesney is kind of, people would identify him. It is later, I'm saying, yes, but I mean, still beach. I'm just thinking about
He's
beach
just not
music.
on my playlist.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's obviously a cutoff that I just realized.
Yeah, you're like, oh, he's
no.
I was like, is Kenny Chesney?
I like Kenny Chesney, but he's not part of that.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. When I think of beach music, I think of, I don't know, different things. Like there's this band I like called Bay Ledges, and they are just kind of, it's you find them. We listen to a lot of radios, so we'll put into Spotify, hey, this person radio or this song radio, and then I discover a bunch of people that way.
Yeah, I make my own.
Oh, nice. That's really
cool. I only make my own playlists. And I listen to them over and over and over again. Yes.
That's funny. So we only listen to radios. I've only made a few playlists ever.
I have one for like every mood that I'm ever in.
Wow.
I have one for Dane. I have one for like every mood that I'm in. I have one for my kids that is like, we call it, what's it called? It's something education, because there's a lot of songs that I'm realizing that they'll never hear.
Oh, yeah.
If they just listen to the music that they like. So it's like, this is music education class. And all of the songs that everyone needs to know the words to, because they're going to come on and everybody else is going to be singing and you need to know.
I love that. What a cool thing for them to have. I certainly never had that. I had to figure out music in my we didn't have a TV. We didn't have radio. Like I didn't listen to much of anything. Love music. Probably because I was a prisoner and didn't get to, listen to that stuff. But that's really funny. I love
all the time they'll start singing some song that is so not something that they should know.
Right.
And someone will comment and be like, do you know this song?
What's so funny, we had somebody like that we used to go to church with in Colorado, and they had watched our girls, because I think it was maybe when Jen was training for the marathon, there would have been only one girl at that point. I think it was just when Lily was really small. We came back and picked them up and they're like, excuse me, did you know that your daughter knows the words to Brass Monkey by the Beastie Boys, but does not know the words to Jesus Loves Me? I was like,
same.
I was like, I've never thought about it, never put it that way, but yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I don't know if we've ever listened to Jesus Loves Me.
Let's focus on that list.
Jesus Loves Me? Kids, you need to listen. That's really funny. Yeah, but Lily and I and the girls, like we had a whole, and then when Lily was driving and then Lily went up to school, Annie and I did this some too, but we had a whole, like, I can't remember who it was, Tuesdays, but we had a day of the week when I would drive them to school and we would do like rock education, like Tuesdays. And so we started way back and started, talking about early rock and roll and then influences and worked all the way up, through kind of the 60s and all of that, and then punk rock, and then until kind of modern rock. Just people that I felt like you need to know.
You just need to know this. This is part of life.
And then Annie has taken this semester, she's taken the history of rock music class at Appalachian.
And she's aced it.
And she's loved it. Well, I don't know. Not because of anything I did.
I remembered what my playlist is called. It's called Culture Ed.
Oh, I love it. Culture education. That's great. So I wish I had someone thinking about me that way. It's awesome.
Just saying.
Yeah. So, but yeah, holidays are coming. We're excited.
Yep.
So, but yeah, Lee's about to graduate college, which is crazy. And then and then we kind of just get into the holidays. It's really cool. A couple more events, and then we're off for a couple of weeks through Christmas, and then right back at it. But yeah, it's a cool season. We're really excited. A lot of cool things happening, and everyone is going to love what Dr. Martinez talks about today. She talks about parenting. She jumps into vulnerability, curiosity. Comes up again and again, which is really cool.
Which I'm growing to love that word.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Because it is, I don't know. Something strikes me about just being curious about things instead of jumping to conclusions and assuming these bad things. Like, just be curious.
Yeah. We need to do a whole episode. We need to have one of our amazing, advisors on and talk about, what is it called? Family systems, I think. Internal family systems. And it's this idea that every part of you, whatever you're doing, think of it as a part of you that wants to do that thing. Even if it's a habit you're trying to break, there's something in you that wants what that habit provides. And instead of like trying to choke it out and make it die, instead of like taking some curiosity and approaching it and saying, what is it you want? What is it about this that you need so bad, that this part of you wants to keep doing this thing, or something that you're doing that you want to reinforce to do more? And like, what is it you don't want? And being curious about yourself rather than the shame that can approach, habits you're trying to break, or certain things, or whatever, or a shame that I can't believe that I haven't started doing this. I'm not exercising more. I don't eat right, or I'm not a better friend, or I don't remember to message back, whatever that thing is that you've, instead of shame, curiosity. I don't know. It would be really cool. It sounds like a far more helpful way to just approach almost anything.
100%.
If you want to get to the root of it. But yes, Dr. Martinez is obviously a very curious person, and she was killer to have on. Can't wait for people to hear
Everybody's
this.
gonna love her.
Gonna love her. We love her, and we love her more now. So check out this interview with Dr. Samantha Martinez. Dr. Samantha Martinez. Let's just jump in right there. I mean, we're having this chat before we start recording, and so I thought we might as well just get started. Yeah. Welcome to the Four Students Podcast.
Thank you. It's very exciting. A nice crisp day in a warm room. So I'm excited to be here.
It's so true.
Yeah, and it's early December while we're filming this. Yeah. And we've known you now. It's been kind of really cool because we got to know you because someone we had partnered with at our very first event ever here in Charlotte, a professor at Queen's University. Her name's Dr. Melinda Harper, and she couldn't be at an event to speak and fill this role that she had in the past. And she's like, I know just the people.
I felt like the pinch hitter.
Yes, yes, that's it. Yes, and beautifully with we'll hear more about this, but with the softball background,
sure.
That makes a lot of sense. You really were a pinch hitter. And so I don't know, like, what did you think when you first heard about all of this?
What were you getting into?
I had no idea. Okay. Transparently, I mean, I think Dr. Harper could ask anything of me, and I would just say yes. Yeah. Which I just really trust her and value just kind of what she's a part of, and she's been such an amazing mentor to me. So when she reached out and had asked for this favor in some way, and she kind of had alluded, I think this would be a great opportunity for you to connect to the community. I was still... I don't even think I'd been here a year when she had asked me. So, because I moved to Charlotte for postdoc, which is a part of, training to become a licensed psychologist.
That's what I was going to say. Would you explain that really quickly? Because some people will hear, we heard that term.
Yeah.
What does postdoc mean?
So as it's different with all graduate training. So I have a PhD. I wanted to become a licensed psychologist. To do that, I had to go through all of my training in school and then do something called like an internship, like pre-doctoral training. So before I got the PhD, so I do all of these classes, and then I go and do this internship, which I did at the University of Miami, Miller School of Medicine, was there for a year. also known as kind of like a residency, but for
Yes,
psychologists.
but for psychologists, got it.
In that year, I defend a dissertation. So then I get a PhD, right? So you do this internship, you defend your dissertation, you graduate with your PhD. But after, you still have to do an extra year of training to be able to become licensed. Hence, postdoc.
Postdoc. So this is
Right.
after
So
your dissertation's already been, defended. But this is after that.
And this is additional training. And some, depending on what kind of psychologist you want to be, I have colleagues who are neuropsychologists that do 2 years of postdoc.
Wow, okay.
But as somebody who wanted to be a licensed psychologist that works in a clinical setting, I did 1 year of postdoc. And that's how I got here, is that I wanted to do it in a private practice setting. So anyway, I was here less than a year on postdoc, and Dr. Harper was like, hey, there's this cool, they work with adolescents, you work with adolescents. I think this might work out. And that's pretty much what the conversation was. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. I'm available that day.
Yeah. That was so cool. And so, because then we got to meet you and one of your colleagues, Megan, who both of you had, worked with Dr. Harper at some point in the past. And then we had this event and we were just charmed by you. I think, and not just us.
Yeah. I was sitting there. I remember because I had not met you before or anything. Like it was kind of I don't remember if it was last minute or not, but it wasn't like.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of time.
It wasn't a ton of time. So I hadn't had a chance to meet you. And I just remember sitting there because I'm always looking with my like editorial eye and I was like, she's good.
Yes.
I'm glad you thought that.
We're gonna have
being
her back.
Yes.
I kind of remember being up there like, I hope this is going well. Like,
Yes.
am I connecting
It went
with
really,
it?
really
So-
well.
Well, you kind of came upstage. I can remember a couple of times where you came upstage and talked like a person and used your hands.
It was very natural.
And it was very natural
Engaged
and
the
engaging.
audience. It was,
And we
it was
were just
good.
like, okay, this lady's crazy knowledgeable.
Yep.
And she's so human and
Check,
so
check
engaging. Let's
all the
go.
things.
She's coming back.
Well, that's very
So
kind.
it was really, really cool. And so it's been a fun relationship, honestly.
It's been really fun. Well, and
Yeah.
I think I was sold that day, right? I was like, how do I do this more? I think
Oh,
equally
cool.
it was probably an exchange of, I think to get high school student, first of all, I can talk about mental health all the time. Ask my family. We just had Thanksgiving. So, but, so
They're just recovering and you're recording a podcast.
Every
about it.
time. Yeah. My dad's like, we don't need that right now, probably. Right. The psychology thing, let's put it aside. But, I think for me, being there and having other adults, so in the field or not, encouraging students to have these vulnerable conversations and I think sometimes we were talking about this a little bit before we started, but the stigma, right, of like being in this office with this person and it's quiet and it's secretive. This was so open and kids were really engaged and having fun. And I think sometimes, I just had this conversation recently with a client around like therapy doesn't mean we always have to talk about stressors and challenges and negative, right?
Right.
It's a space of a space for exploration. And I felt like that's what you all were providing these students. So
Yeah.
I was equally like, how do I do this again? How do I get involved? And I think it's been really nice the last, I guess it's been a year and a half since that.
Yes. It's been really cool.
Yeah.
And you showed up and we're at our donor event and you've just showed up again and again.
Yep.
And then you and I jumped into and had this amazing kind of hour-long kind of design session around kind of workshopping some content that I think would be helpful and that you seem to agree would be helpful. And just trying to figure that stuff out. So it's just been a really fun relationship, like figuring that stuff out. So we're crazy thankful for you. We're huge fans of Dr. Samantha Martinez.
Ditto, honestly.
But like, how did you become this person? I think we should probably just start
That's where we
there
should
with your
start.
story.
Yeah.
Origin story.
The origin story.
The origin
Oh my
story.
gosh.
The lore.
The lore I think why looking at high school students is so impactful to me is because I was not a child that I would describe as like vulnerable, right? So like, how did I become somebody who's like, let's talk about emotions and feelings constantly all the time is not how it started, right? So I grew up in small town USA. So I grew up in New Jersey.
Okay.
And like my town had a city and a township, if that tells you anything historically. Like there's a highway that goes between one side's a city, one side's a township.
Got it.
I grew up in the
Fascinating.
city, 1 square mile.
Okay.
I walked to school until the 6th grade, right?
Okay.
So I never took a bus, all these types of things. And I think when you grow up in a small town and I think other people that may have had that experience, whether it was you or just friends, there's a lot that comes with being in a small town because you're very much spotlighted, right? Of everyone is. And I think Miranda Lambert has a song like "Famous in a Small Town," which I felt like.
Is Miranda a country
Country
okay,
singer.
I thought she was.
Oh my
Bring it
gosh.
back, yeah.
I thought she was. I thought
You've
I
been in
heard
North
that name
Carolina
before.
a while. We need to
Yes,
get
I
your
know.
country
Yes.
up.
There's some country I listen
Didn't you
to,
go to
but
Gainesville?
my
There's
rap
country
did
out
not
there
have
too.
any country songs on it. so to speak.
But the idea being like you were famous for something, whether
Yeah.
you wanted to be or not, was a small town. So I think I grew up already in a function of spotlights on me. What does that mean? What do I want that to mean? Right. And for me, I wanted it to mean success and achievement. I think I was very focused on that. I come from really wonderful parents who are motivated and want to be the best at what they do. My mom was a college cross-country track and field coach at Rider University in New Jersey. She was one of the first women to coach both men and women.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
That's
so I
cool.
came from this woman that was doing things that women didn't do, right? I
Right.
came from a dad who was doing really well in the business world, but then coached us in every sport. So I think I had this spotlight of, okay, I have to be the best. And I don't know that came, I think if you talk to my dad, he would say, like, we didn't put that pressure on you,
Right.
which they didn't, but it was
It was
modeled.
just in the air.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
modeled, and I'm quite intrinsically motivated
Yeah.
because of that. And I think just kind of growing up. So I share that of, okay, like this origin of, okay, which, of me is be the best always, which does not mean share your emotions, right? Like, it's like you have to be the
Right.
best.
That could be an obstacle to being the best. in
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
And it's so, and I think being in a small town, it gave me a lot of access to playing a sport every season. That was quite encouraged by our family. We played a sport every season.
So in high school, you were all 3 seasons.
Yep.
You were
So
doing something.
in high school, I played soccer because in the north, it's in the fall.
Oh, okay.
So I played soccer. I ran winter track. And then I played softball. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
sport every season. And then I was in theater. So because again, I mean, it's a small town, you kind of have to do it all. So
When did you
I
have
did that
time?
as well.
I'm wondering. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
But it was it became an expectation of mine long before I got to high school that I was going to be involved in these things. I think like being in a small town, you hold these roles, and my parents were really well known in our town.
Siblings?
Oh yeah, so I have 2.
Okay. Same? Are they just like you in that way?
You know, I have 2 younger siblings,
Okay.
and we have quite a difference in age. So I have one that's 4 years younger,
Okay.
and then one that's 10 years.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
like an only child, that one. Yeah.
So there was just
Yeah. Almost all
he's
of you
the baby.
almost are having somewhat of an only child experience almost.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
have this singular experience. And I'll tell you, my middle brother, like when I was growing up, I wanted specifically a brother. I think I knew I wouldn't have done well with a sister. I don't know.
Interesting.
I was like, I want a brother. And so was excited to kind of have that sibling and that partnership. And mainly because I think I was able to be like, we're going to do this. Like I could craft him and he
I
followed
could
along.
craft
So I feel like a lot of my growing up was that. I think a pivotal moment though for me was my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 9.
Oh, wow.
And that is my youngest brother. So my mom was pregnant and had cancer.
Oh, wow.
And so we are going through like, be the best, and you're in this small town.
Yep.
And then your mom gets spotlighted as the one with cancer.
Right.
And you're like, wait a second, I'm supposed to be the best still. And for me, what happened at that time was I have to be better. So I had to be the best. That was like important to me always. But now that my mom was sick, to not cause any disruption, for her to be better. I was 9 years old and my mom and dad sat us down and said, there's a possibility that it could be baby or mom, right, at the end of this.
Oh, wow.
You know,
meaning she's
9-year-old.
pregnant.
She's
with-
pregnant. Yep.
Oh, my god.
So she's pregnant.
Crazy.
She has cancer. They're basically like this at the end. I mean, this was 2004. The amount of women that were pregnant with cancer was quite limited. I think.
Right.
I feel like I could be pulling the statistic, and if you Googled it, I'm not 100% sure. But like, I feel like there were 8 women in New Jersey who had successfully had started treatment and had a child with
Wow.
cancer. Right. So I
Right.
think there was a lot of legitimacy and fear around my mom being able to survive and the baby being
Well, that
able to
because I mean,
survive.
cancer is quickly reproducing cells, and so is an
is the
embryo.
baby.
So it's
Right.
like, yeah, how do you fight that? Yeah, I've never even thought of that.
Right. Yeah. And so I think for me, what ended up happening was like, I don't want to cause stress. And a little bit with my younger brother, Jared, I was like, Jared, we have to be in line. So stay in line. You know, we have to do the best. And I think about it now, like I was so hard on him. Like, make sure we do this. Like we have to
Yeah.
get A's. We have to, because I just, in my 9-year-old brain was like, okay, if
That was what was in your control.
I can control this.
Yep.
I can control this and nobody's talking to me about feelings.
Right. Well, and you'll be celebrated. It's not even like people are going to be bummed that you're doing that.
It was super
or worried
real.
about you that you're performing.
go back to the famous in a small town.
Yeah.
There's nothing that feels better than opening up the Trentonian and seeing your name on the front page, right? I mean, that felt good. That was really exciting. And so I was then reinforced for not having feelings. Oh, she's fine.
Yeah.
The other thing that comes with that, and you become 9 and then 11 and then 12 is, oh, you're so strong.
Yes.
Because what
she's so
ended
resilient.
up so resilient.
Look at her life, but she's still doing all this stuff.
She doesn't have hard things, or she has a hard thing going on, but she's figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because what ended up happening is my mom had my brother. She was okay in terms of she lived through the pregnancy, but then my mom would go into remission every few years. Like she would go into remission and then it would come back and go into remission and come back. And so there was this like toggle. So I could never settle. It was just constantly like, and then the reinforcement is coming at me of keep working hard, keep doing it. And I'm like, yes, I will work hard. I'll be part of the clubs. I'll do all of the things because that brings, I'm seeing the joy on my parents' face. That's bringing us happiness and all of these things. And I want that to continue.
Sure.
And what ended up happening is I turned 16 like many girls do. And I think there was a lot of hormonal changes probably happening. But I think in addition to that, I'm so incredibly grateful for my mom because I think she checked in and was like, wait a second. This has kind of been going on for a really long time, but now we're starting to see just her behaviors, whether it was like me getting upset or more being argumentative with her or my dad, that wasn't as consistent as, okay, she's just strong and she's moving along. And that's when my mom sent me to Camp Kesem and my 2 younger brothers. And it changed everything for me.
Right.
It was
and
like
tell everybody, because I didn't know what Camp Kesem was, and maybe you know, but I didn't. So will you tell everybody, what is that?
Huge fan of Camp Kesem.
Yeah.
Actually, how one of the staff here and I connected.
Oh, no way. I
was
didn't know if that
camp.
was through that camp. Yeah.
It was an off-camera conversation. But yeah, Camp Kesem is a camp run by universities and across the nation.
Okay.
And it is specifically for children whose parents have had a journey with cancer, meaning they have either died, because of cancer, or they're currently in remission, or just a journey with cancer. Yeah. And so it is a camp for kids with parents who have cancer, which you can imagine a 16-year-old being told that. You're not like, yay, that sounds so fun.
I can't wait to do this. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, for your summer, as a high school student. And especially not a kid like me who was like, we're not talking about my mom being sick.
Right.
I didn't talk about it with friends.
So around the dining room table and stuff, is it just when necessary, or like what are those conversations like?
Almost not at all.
Okay.
I mean, I think my mom still worked.
Okay.
It's interesting. A couple of years ago, my youngest brother, Liam, who was born into my mom being sick, never knew her healthy.
Okay.
Right? I said, how did you ever know if mom was sick? He's like, I honestly only knew if she was bald. Like, if she was bald, that told me she was sick.
She was fighting and she was sick.
But other than that, my mom showed up to every sporting event, every theater. She was like room mom. My parents were always at I don't know how they were at everything. I'm like, how'd you all get there?
Yeah.
Now that I'm like
looking back on it now.
At 31, I'm like, how did you all make it to these places? Right. But yeah, it was quite incredible. So Liam's reflection of I only knew because mom was bald, that's how I knew too, really. Huh. And honestly, my mom didn't talk about being sick. People would come to our house, you grew up in a small town. I didn't even have a key to our front door because it was just always open.
Yeah.
And so people were just always in and out. So maybe sometimes the level of people at our house increased, or we had a family member come in who usually wasn't there. That might give you a tell that something's going on. But the dinner table conversations didn't happen.
Fascinating.
I think I come from 2 parents who came from families of fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. Well, and being athletes.
Totally.
Right? And so as an athlete, you kind of show up and you don't talk about the injury unless it's affecting your performance and you need to deal with it in some way. You jump up, rub some dirt on it, and keep performing.
Absolutely. I think even more to give context, my mom was a Division I athlete at Houston. She ran.
Oh, wow.
And she ran until she had shin fractures.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? So shin splints.
Yeah. So you're running through the splint.
She ran through that, got shin fractures, and then is pulled out as an athlete from Houston and had to kind of reevaluate. So that's where I came from, right?
Yes.
And my dad's kind of the same way. Grew up working, doing all sorts of kind of sports and really in the martial arts world.
Okay. Wow.
So
no
totally, just I come from these people who are fine, and they're looking at us, and I don't blame them. They're looking at us going, they're doing well.
Yeah.
Oh, Jared, my middle brother, was a top wrestler. Great. He's a top wrestler. Does really well in school. He had some reading challenges. They identified, oh, that's dyslexia. Great, we can address that.
We can deal with this. What's
My younger brother, he follows along. He's doing the same stuff. He's a great kid. Everyone really likes him. Awesome, right? Like there wasn't
check.
Until I was 16. And that's when my mom's like,
you started mouthing off.
I mouthed off. I was a sassy 16-year-old.
You started becoming this sassy Jersey girl.
Oh, yeah.
That took me off guard. Sorry.
No, it was mouthy. I think my dad will kind of describe it, and he'll, upon reflection, and be like, something happened. Like, something came into this house, and Sam was 16, and everybody knew.
Where did Sam go?
And my mom, again, like I said, to her credit, didn't go, I can't believe she's doing this, and now personalized it. Like my mom, instead she was curious.
Yeah.
Why is this happening?
That is a cool, just that, I mean, in general, I know as a psychologist and just relationally, if you can be curious instead of reactionary, like it changes.
This is out of the usual, so there must be a reason. Yeah.
And I think my mom would have been a fabulous psychologist, right? Like I think she would have been really awesome in the field, but I feel like it's a conversation I have with parents all the time now. Is like, is getting your point across important right now, or can we be curious and gain some more understanding to help us facilitate the relationship, to facilitate movement? Like that is actually really, like your reasoning may be correct, right?
Yes.
But in this moment, let's get curious. And I feel like my mom, right, like her reasoning about me not being so sassy could have probably been correct. Like, let's utilize some appropriate language, but instead she was asking me why.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really great. And I think she knew before I ever did that it was much related to this like suppression of, I couldn't name it, right, at 16 or 9, 11, so on and so forth, right? That this like suppression of emotion, this like, I have to be the best. No, I have to be better. The goalpost always moving and the not connecting and grounding myself with emotions at all resulted in, I think, this like, this explosion. Like I can only hold on to this so much.
There's two things there really quickly before you go
please.
on. But it's like having worked with students now for my whole career, and we've, worked with students a lot, and then particularly working with families and doing coaching and things like that. One of the things that I heard, and I was so thankful to have heard, and that I've tried to pass on, and you just kind of said a version of, is this ability for a parent to not at least appear surprised by anything, not to react, or, certainly not in a reactive way when your child shares something with you. Like that, like it's like just to be able to keep a calm, still face, even if you're freaking out on the inside, and be able to just, instead of like getting angry and moving into that fear that you feel about, but if you do that, or you keep doing that, you keep thinking that way, this is going to go there, to keep that still, calm face and just say, so why is that? Or what's going on that makes, let's dig into that. To at least respond with even if it's a fake curiosity, can change your relationship with your kid, and definitely with your teen dramatically.
And I think what we're talking about here in addition is my parents were a team.
Yes.
I think my dad would have come in and been like, get your act together. What is going on? And I think my dad believed in my mom, how she wanted to handle it. And he's like, okay, if you think this is going to work, I'm behind you.
Yeah.
And so together, like, I don't know that my dad would have said, let's send her to this camp. I think it's going to, help. But instead, my mom was like, I really believe in this. And he's like, and I believe in you. And so together we're going to move forward. And I think as parents, oftentimes I'm talking about like, you have to have that team connection. It's really important to tap in and tap out, right? My dad had to tap out.
Yes.
He was like, this isn't going to work for me because when she's sassy, I'm going to yell. My dad was my softball coach. Believe me, he yelled. So he's like, I'm going to yell. Yeah. Probably not going to work.
Yeah.
So can you, and my mom's like, I can tap in and I'm going to be able to be the stoic, which she was. And even during that sassy period, I mean, I have a very good relationship with my mom, even during that period of time. And I have a really great relationship with my dad. So the relationship was critical to them.
No kidding.
Right? It wasn't like, I'm going to reason you out of this or I'm going to prove to you why I'm right. They were like, our relationship matters. I'm going to get curious. And then I'm going to provide the support.
Well, and the relationship matters most.
You know what I mean?
It's like I think that's the difficult part is you get sucked into that moment and the emotion rather than, well, no, at the end of this, I want Sam to still want to spend time with me. I want Sam to still,
to you.
Yes, exactly. For the relationship to be intact in the end. Yep. And I think that's hard because we talk about that when you get amygdala hijacked and suddenly your problem solving and your future, your time frame, all that goes out the window and you're just feeling. But that thing of being able to slow down or tap out, if you have the partner that you can tap out with, unbelievably helpful. It reminds me, and you know our youngest daughter, Annie, well, and they never listen to these podcasts, so I don't even have to worry about anything I say on here. It's so funny. I'm just like, you listen to the podcast? They're like, no. And I'm like, okay. Well, I can just start talking about you then. No. But it was that way with Jen and I. Like, I'm emotional. I feel first. Annie feels first.
You're
and so
also a teacher.
Yes, I'm also an educator. I'm a coach. I coach volleyball, but I also work with people and coach around goals. And so it's like, everything's teachable. I'm an educator. I want to teach you, like, oh, you're struggling, you're suffering. Have you thought about this? That would alleviate this suffering. It would make it better. And it just didn't work with Annie at all. And so I had to, for an entire season, because she's now a freshman in college, Jen and I had this conversation. When it comes to discipline, when it comes to these things, I'm going to need you to take that role with Annie. Yeah. Because it's the same with your dad and you. Same
and
thing.
I think if you're a single parent, let's say you don't have that partner, I think it can come in the way in which you ask questions. So something that my dad eventually had to learn was, okay, because my dad is a problem solver, and he can solve a problem. He's the first one I call. Yeah. Dishwasher's broken. I'm sorry to my fiance. I'm not asking you. I'm calling my dad. Like, I'm asking my dad, how do I fix this dishwasher? Because my dad could fix it over the phone. I joke, but I think my dad can build everything. So I'm just like, he could build this. He could fix it. But what happens sometimes is, like, sometimes there isn't a problem to fix. Yeah. And so what my dad had to learn, and something that I give him credit and he developed, was, is this a conversation where you want a solution, or is this a conversation where you just want me to listen?
Love that. And
when you don't have that tag in to be like, hey, I can't because I want to solve, that question can still, as a parent, give you pause. And I hear this from my clients all the time. You know, I work primarily with the 16-year-olds, like the adolescents, right? And so many times I hear from them like, oh, I really like talking to this friend because they've asked me, is this a conversation where we're just gabbing, or is this a conversation where you want my support? And I think, adolescents are realizing that is a helpful distinction for what type of conversation. I think parents can also do that. Yeah. And it changes the way, right, and it doesn't mean that you never help them problem solve. Right. It doesn't mean that you don't get them to the solution. Because I know it can feel like, I just need to teach them this. It's just not in that moment because they're not ready to receive it. Right. And that's okay. There may be a time when they are. And then you can come back later, right, and check in. Hey, I had a problem solved. Are you ready for it? I kind of have a suggestion. And they might say, yeah, I can hear it out. Or not right now, Mom. Like, I'm finishing up calculus, or whatever that is. So I think there's two pieces. It's like, if you have that partner, use that tap in. If you don't, you can still engage in this skill pretty effectively. It's just the way in which you ask the question.
Yeah. And beautifully, Jen does that. She comes back when she's de-escalated and she's in a regulated space. And then Jen comes back and can say, hey, I've been thinking about this. Is it okay if I share this with you?
And that's really that question.
Yes.
Like, let's just
Is it okay if I
Is
can
it
share?
okay?
Yeah, if I share
Because
this with you.
I use this example all the time. I'm from Jersey, as I said. I'm a Jersey driver. I'm not used to the South. If everyone's like, do.
Like, we have places to be.
And so I think about, like, if I'm driving along and I'm frustrated by the Charlotte traffic, which is ever growing. You know, my office is in South Park, which is quite trafficky. And so if you're trying to tell me something you want me to remember while I'm in traffic, I'm missing it. I'm totally missing it because I am focused on this person that just cut me off, or I'm focused on why is no one turning left when it's green and nobody in the South honks, apparently, right? So I'm like, what's going on?
So that's you.
I'm the honker.
You're the honker.
Yeah. If you see me on the street, just know I'm honking. But yeah, I mean, none of this is happening. But if you're like, I want you to remember this, I'm not hearing it. It's the same thing that can happen with our teens. It doesn't always have to be that dysregulated, but their mind might be focused on school, something that happened. Remember, they're away from us from like 7 to 8 hours a day. Right. So you don't know all the things that happen. And then you come in, and so I try to ask them something or talk to them. So I love the question. Is it okay? Are you ready? Yeah. I've got a thought. Or do you think do you have a minute? And they're like, no, I actually have to dump this essay out real quick. Okay, so when you're done, I want to follow up.
When you're done, let me know. Yeah, and it's kind of been cool because now Annie is at an age where she and I have learned some of those skills, and she and I are getting back to a place where I'm definitely actively involved. She'll reach out to me and ask me things. And so it's been cool. But I mean, it was just a wild thing to realize that one of my kids.
She's learned to like pick on you about your coaching things, and it makes her feel better.
Yes. Yeah, it does. She can be transparent.
You both win in some little thing.
Yeah, that's so true.
But it sounds like what is important for you all is you have a relationship,
so
you can do it.
Yes.
Right? It's foundational. So if I care and I think that's what my parents at 16 were like, wait a second, I think we're losing sight of this relationship, and that's important, so we need to give her time to work on this other thing that we think is really important, and so that we can get our relationship back, so that you can get there. You can only pick fun if you have the relationship.
Truly.
Because if not, it's mean.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, I don't like that person, I'm going to avoid them. But if you can go, like, yes, I can call my dad and say, I know your emotions might not be turned on, but turn them on because I need them right now. Versus, because I can say that in like a jokey way with him because we have a strong relationship. If not, he would be offended. Maybe he would hang up. We wouldn't be able to, whatever that might look like. And so I think foundationally, the relationship allows for so much. And I think that's what my parents at 16 were like, wait a second, we need to kind of get in touch with this and figure out what's going on. Because even though she's successful and doing all of these like markers of success, something's
off. Yeah, something's changed.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny. One of the big realizations I had, and I just will say this, and then I want to get back into your story.
Oh, sure.
But it felt profound to me at the time, this realization of like, I'm afraid if I don't address this behavior in this moment, it's going to become something that is actually going to hurt her and hurt the people around her, hurt her relationships, hurt her path, her success, whatever. I can see what's coming.
Yeah.
But it was this realization that as I was digging in and trying to like coach her and help her and fix it, I was actually potentially, I could manifest something that I was way more fearful of, like estranging myself from her. And
Such a good point.
Like, what does that do? I'm way more afraid of me having no relationship with her and what that would do in her life and the ripples that sends into her future in that way and my future than I am her being frustrated because a friend did this thing that seems kind of dumb to me, but she seems so worked up about it. And like, babe, don't get so worked up about that. And meanwhile, I'm driving a wedge in our relationship. Like I'm way more afraid of this other thing than I am her, not learning to grow her window of tolerance in that little moment.
For sure. And it makes sense. Like this fear of, I've been there. I know how this is going to be. If you talk to your friend this way, this is going to be the outcome. I hear this from parents all the time. Like, oh, I just want them to know. And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
I get that. And I hear that. And it makes a lot of sense. You don't want them to experience maybe the trials that you had or the tribulations, right? You want to save them, but remember that was so important that they had that. And then you're there for them. Hey, how did that go? How can I support? What do you want to talk about? Versus being the one that's constantly saying, no, you're not doing it right. No, you need to fix it. That's the wedge, right? And instead, they're learning, and then they can come back to you like, hey, Dad, that went horribly. I tried to tell her that I was mad, and then you can jump in because now she's opened that door, right? And I think that's an important distinction. It's like we want to fix and we want to control because as parents, it's like, oh, I know where this could go. But we really don't.
Right.
And so instead, the relationship is just so much more important. Yeah.
So your mom is able to coach you. Your dad can say, hey, and he can probably, I'm sure they're talking offline, constantly about how is this, and make sure to mention this, but do it in your mom way, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I think they were such a team, right? And my dad talks about that now and reflects on it. And as a kid, you don't notice. You kind of think. I hear this from students a lot, right? Like, well, what do other households look like? I don't know. This is what mine. Yeah. You only know what your household looks like, and so I just kind of assumed everybody's parents were doing these things, but they certainly were talking offline. And I think they approached parenting like sports, okay, you're the pitcher tonight. Like, we need you, or you're the closer, or you're this, or, and my mom organized, like my dad coaching us in sports was my mom. My mom was like, you work, so you're going to coach them, right? This is how it's going to look. Or growing up, when we were much younger, my mom was coaching. So we had 25 brothers and sisters on a track and field team.
Right.
So that looked different, right? Yeah. So I think the whole time they were just coming back together and talking like, what does the team need right now?
Fascinating.
And I think it was when I got to 16 and they were like, okay, one of our teammates not doing so well. Why can't she get out of bed? Or why is she always angry? What's going on? And that's when my mom had looked, she was constantly, while she was the sick parent, right? She was constantly looking at resources for us. And I'd say, this is upon reflection and hindsight, but my mom was probably the only one that ever asked me if I was okay. Wow. When I would go out into the community, small town, I lived on one of the main streets, we'd walk out, people would ask about my mom, like, how's your mom doing? How's your mom doing? So I thought that was the only person that could be impacted. And I think my mom was like, wait a second, are you okay? What's going on with you? And of course, I was an athlete, so I was fine. Until I wasn't. And that's when my mom looked for resources around how do I support my child who I don't think is fine. And the way she did this was through Camp Kesem. And so Camp Kesem is, as I said, is a specific camp. And I will tell you, I was kicking and screaming. I was crying the entire drive. We went to MIT's camp.
Okay. How far is that from your house?
Oh, hours.
Okay.
I mean, so that's obviously in Boston. We're in New Jersey. We stopped along the way at a friend's house that we know in Boston, one of my mom's best friends, our dearest family friends, who used to live in New Jersey. I'm not kidding. I think I took her to the side and I was like, let me stay here. Do not send me to this camp. I mean, I'm like, do not make me go.
Please talk to my mom.
Seriously, I was like, Miss Jen, if you, I'm so thankful for Miss Jen. Miss Jen is actually who we stayed at their house when my brother was born.
Oh, no way.
My youngest brother. So when my mom was in the hospital. So she's been a big part of our family, and her family is our family. And so I cornered her and I was like, don't let her send me to this camp. She's crazy. Like, I don't know why she's doing this to me. And I'm being held hostage. And she's like, no, I really think this is, why don't you just try?
I love that.
I mean, and I'm crying till we get to the desk and we're signing in. Like, I'm just so upset. I'm just having the awful time. And mind you, my two brothers are coming along. I know Jared was like, girl, get over it. Like, come on, we're here. And Liam is 6, right? So he's just like, come on, let's go. We're going to excited. Like, let's have fun. Mom said there's a lake, and let's go do this. And so they sign you up and they ask you for like a name, what's your camp name? And huge eye roll. I'm like, a camp name? And I'm like, really? This is what we're getting into? And I said to my little brother, like, what do you think? What do you think my name should be? And he's like, Princess Peach. I mean, so definitively. I said, fine, that's my camp name, Princess Peach. And I sat in this circle and left my mom. My mom's like, you got this. You can do it. I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
And I sit down and with all these other campers, and I am just stewing. I'm not really wanting to talk to anybody. So unlike me. Like, I'm quite social, outgoing. Like, that wasn't even typical, right? So I just was so frustrated that I felt like nobody was listening. Like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you forcing? I don't need this. I'm fine. I'm successful. I the whole way there, I'm like, Mom, I get good grades. I'm in all these sports. I don't do drugs like all the other kids. I'm like, I don't drink even. Like, I'm just like, why am I doing this? And just really felt like a punishment to go somewhere to be vulnerable, right? Because that's what it felt like I was being forced into. Like, now this target of like, I'm the kid with the mom who has cancer is like so big, where at least in my small town, like, my mom has been sick for years. Maybe they forgot about it, kind of thing. It wasn't until night 2 where they forced the teens to go on this camping trip. Now, I grew up a Girl Scout, but I don't like to camp. So I was like, we're going to go camping, but okay. So we go out and we're in this camping and we're sitting around a circle. It's the fire's going. It's, the summer. And it was in this moment they started asking us individually just what they would call a cabin chat. And you would talk about different things. And it starts with like, if you had if you were a superhero, what strength would you want to have? Or like, what superpower? And all these types of things. It starts off really simple. And then it starts getting deeper as, these types of things do, right?
As the strategy
suggests. As I now know, right? As a provider, I'm like, we don't really just jump in like, hey, dead parent, let's talk about it. No, it's like, okay, what's your superpower? And I had this girl sitting next to me. Her camp name was Chop Suey. Okay, so that you have no idea what everybody's name is. The whole idea being that you can be vulnerable with this name. Yeah, you don't have to be Samantha Martinez, right? I can be Princess Peach. And I remember she was younger than me. Like, she was a teenager, but younger. And she just opened up about her mom who had just died.
Oh, wow.
And I remember sitting there, like, in this moment, just being like, oh my gosh, like, I'm connecting with this person who she was describing, like, she had just done all these videos with her mom, and she was saying, like, we asked her what she would want at our wedding, and she's just open, like, this 14-year-old. I'm 16, and I'm looking at her just going, like, this is what I haven't been doing for a year. I don't even talk about my mom being sick. And you're sitting here telling me in this group of seemingly strangers about how you prepared for your mom to die and what that looked like. I was just like, this is what people do. And I'm looking at her as someone who was seemingly positive and happy and I thought was a kind person. And you can do this and be vulnerable. And it just opened up for me. And I just totally like sat in this moment of like, okay, wait, maybe this camp isn't so bad. Like if this is a person, like she is still doing all the successful stuff, but she's also talking about the other stuff and maybe I can do both. And so by the end of camp, they do something where it's called Empowerment Day. And everyone from camp gets together. And there's an opportunity, just like in Cabin Chat, for you to come down and tell your story. Again, I'm a kid who never talked about my mom being sick. We just pretend. Maybe we wore pink on Breast Cancer Awareness Day, but hardly because my mom didn't even like the color pink, right? So, like, I mean, it was just not something. We're in this empowerment. It's in a dome, right, where there's all these people, every single camper, my 2 brothers who are there, all the other campers that are there. I had just spent a week so enjoying camp, just doing all the fun things you do at camp and hanging out with friends. And they're calling students down to say, okay, why do you kesem? Why are you here? And I remember this moment as if like it happened yesterday. I mean, I have dreamt about this moment. I've thought about it so much where I remember like physically feeling like I have to say something.
So they're not calling you. You have the opportunity to come down and voluntarily
So empowerment saying,
share.
does anyone want to share their story?
Wow, okay.
Does anyone want to come down? And I felt so physically. And I looked to my left and Liam is sick. So he's like in this little ball, like laying down. And my brother Jared, who I'm just so, deeply connected with, just nods at me. And almost like this permission of, like that, kind of like that's why we're here. And I remember like walking down, like just almost like floating down and being like, hi, I'm Princess Peach and my mom has cancer. And it was probably the first time I had said it like that.
Said that sentence.
And it was the most impactful moment of my life. I mean, it is truly that moment and that camp is why I'm a psychologist.
Wow.
Is because in that moment I realized I can be Samantha Martinez and have feelings, right? I can share and be vulnerable. And this thing that I tried to push away, my mom being sick or being upset or because I was just frustrated, right? At 16, I was pissed my mom was still sick. I was so mad. I just was like, why? She's so healthy. She used to run before school every day. I biked next to her. Why is she still sick? Why hasn't she gotten over this? I am sure I had thoughts about like, I know what some of these other parents are doing. They're not doing what she's doing. And I got to express that for the first time. And so on my way out of camp, we actually had to leave a day early because I had to go to preseason for soccer.
Oh, wow.
I was crying on the way out, but for a much different reason. And it just, it changed my trajectory. I came home, I started a really bad, it's probably still out there, a really bad YouTube channel of like connecting with kids.
No way.
Find that
I know, we're going to dig that up. There you go.
It was probably
People
really,
listening,
just like,
hey,
like I think like the camera's this close to my face and I'm
Right.
trying to be like, how about that cancer card, right? Like, and all that to say, like, I don't know if you've had family members, you can kind of throw out the cancer. I used to have to go and get my mom's medicine at the pharmacy and they'd be like, you can't pick it up, you're 12. I'm like, my mom has cancer. And they're like, yes, you can pick it up.
Playing the cancer card.
Playing the cancer
now
card.
I understand what you mean. Yeah,
making the connection. But yeah, so I would talk about that in the YouTube channel. And then just from there, it was like, while I still wasn't ready fully to dive into emotions, what I became really excited about was like, okay, well, at least I can help other people who do this. And so that became the trajectory. And I was so grateful for, the next steps for me ended up at Queens here in Charlotte, where my mom was who found Queens. So like I wanted to go to a big school, play softball at a Division I level. And mom's like, I think you would really like Division II. I think you'd be a good fit. And as an athlete, I was like, what? Division II? What do you mean? And it ended up being where we saw Queens and I was like, this is it. This just felt like home for me.
I was so curious, like what would make you decide not to go Division I?
It was probably, I was okay with saying my mom was right. I think I grew up in a small town. I liked being able to do everything. Queens gave me that access. I think we came in the fall, so it doesn't, that helps, right? When you're in Myers Park in the fall. So, and all of that leading to like wanting to study psychology undergrad, right? I actually started music therapy, thinking that I'd use music in my space. And then I was like, what happens if they don't like music, you know? And so that's why psychology, all leading to this career, right? And then my mom, helped me get to Queens, built this community. So I feel like along the way, she's like, hey, we need to check in with these emotions. Let's go to this camp. Hey, we need to find a home for you so you have this stability, all to get to, my mom died my sophomore year of college.
Wow.
And I feel like she set this all up. And then here I am going, okay, like I think I know where I'm off to and what's so important to me. So I feel like my journey started probably to get here today as, Dr. Samantha Martinez at 9. And then really that pivotal change at Kesem, all kind of leading to finally being able to be like, okay, I can sit in this space with other people's emotions and I can hold it and I want to, just like I got to in that fire, when we were all sitting around at the camp. Is now I get to do that every day. Like, yes, I want to. Like, the passion is so there for me. And I feel like my mom, I'm so grateful that my mom was like, checking in and a guardrail, if you will, truly. For me, like along the way, to be able to allow that to happen.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What an incredible thing. And then you said your mom has, helped find the space or whatever in this community. What are your supports? You walk into Queens and you have teammates. So you do have community almost instantaneously, whether you vibe with them or not. Did you vibe with them?
Oh
right
my
away?
gosh, yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, my community, it's actually really funny. So like I said, my mom died my beginning of my sophomore year. We were starting fall ball. And this will answer the question of did we vibe, which is there were 12 freshmen. I think it was 12 or 13. There was a huge amount of us.
That came in with you.
Came in with my class. There was a new coach.
Okay.
They were kind of starting how do we get this program where we want it to be. And so I was on my way to practice when they said, hey, I think it's time. I had kind of known that my mom was sick. They'd come for parents' weekend again to the point where she wasn't taking treatment. And I had to tell my teammates, like, there might be a point in time where I have to go home. And I was literally driving to practice and ran onto the field and was like, I have to go home. And all my teammates dropped everything and like packed up, ran me to my dorm, packed up I don't even remember half of this, right? Because I was so they packed all my stuff. I fly home. My mom's Irish Italian, so she had a wake. Girl wanted a party. She did not want a funeral. She was like, let's not do this.
I like the sound of this.
Yeah. So we, we had
So your mom passed while you were away?
No, so actually, I run onto the field. Yeah. I'm like, hey, I got to go home. They pack my stuff. Actually, my aunt and uncle, I have an aunt and uncle that live in Weddington.
Oh, okay. That's here in Charlotte.
Yeah, right here in Charlotte. And so they were like, we'll drive you. And I was like, there is no way I will sit in a car for 12 hours knowing that my mom is asking for me.
Right.
No way. I'm like, put me on a plane now.
Yes.
And so they figured it out. They got me on a plane. Thankful that Charlotte has a close airport.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I flew home. Two of my mom's dearest friends from our hometown and one of my best friends from childhood pick me up from the airport and drive speed to my house where there's 50 people at our house.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there's a huge amount of people, and there had been for weeks.
Yeah.
If I think I'm out, my mom is not. I wouldn't have described her as outgoing, but man, she connected with people. People just flocked to her. I'm not just saying that because she's dead. I know people do that sometimes, but she truly was just this, and she was a coach, right? So that just adds the element of people.
So she's coaching in that community. I was curious, how did she build community? Real quick, I'm sorry, I keep going backwards.
No,
what about this? What about this?
I feel like there's so many details, so I don't ever want to over. But how did my mom build community?
How did they have 50 people to show up at her house at that time?
She just did. I mean, the way. So we lived on that main street. I feel like my mom was a staple. She showed up for people. What I learned, maybe this will give insight. What I learned at the wake was how many people my mom had connected with that I didn't even know that knew her.
Okay.
I had people that walked in and said, "Oh, your mom used to make me a basket after my brother died because he really liked this, and so every month I'd get a basket on my door." Or, "Oh, I used to come over during lunch when your mom was getting infusions, and I would get to talk to her because stuff wasn't going so well in my marriage, and so it allowed for me to have a space. Oh, your mom used to come and come to our wrestling matches, and I always looked forward to having her there. Oh, your mom coached me in basketball even after." I mean, it just this could go on. We could do the remainder time could just be that. So
yeah,
I think
really quickly, what was it
integrated.
about her that at these wrestling matches and stuff that made people want to, you know what I mean? Because I mean, it's wild. People are listening to this. They're like, I don't know anybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I'm just curious, like, is it that she would be intentional and like sitting in the stands at your softball matches or wherever? She's just like, hey, how are you? You know, my name is that? Why?
I think it's so family oriented. So my mom's one of 6.
Okay.
Irish, Italian, Catholic.
Okay,
right?
yeah, right.
And she comes from Irish mom, Italian dad. That was a no-no back in the day, right? Like you weren't allowed to.
That's
my
different
grandmother,
mobs.
Yes, my grandmother was like, nope, I'm making this happen.
Yeah.
So she didn't care. And there were 6 of them. And I will tell you what, my mom's siblings are so amazing. They're all this way.
Interesting.
They're all beacons of light in their community, and the way in which they engage. I mean, when my Uncle Joe, he is now my coach. He coaches me for running. I run, half marathons or a 5K here or there, and he coaches me. He is I say he's the mayor of his town. And my Uncle Darren, who's in Colorado, same exact way. He taught at the university. He does this. My Aunt Kate, who is also in Colorado, but more in Aspen, knows everyone. And the way they do it is they genuinely want to know about people. My mom wanted to know. And she might not have talked to 100 people.
Sure.
But she talked to 2. And she really talked to 2, and then she shared their number and invited them over, and they were at her Halloween, and I might be like, Mom, who is that? And she's like, oh, this is blah, blah, blah's cousin who I wanted to come because they didn't have anywhere to go for Halloween. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And I think people are just drawn to that openness, and it's something that I think she passed to my brothers. And my youngest brother, we always called him the mayor. We call him the mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just somebody, he can talk to you about anything, pick a topic. And I just think that was the way that when you have 6 kids and the way that they were just, grew up, and they grew up in South Jersey, I think it was just a part of them. And it just was so innate to her. And I think she really valued intentionality and relationships, which is how she parented. But I think that's how she built community. And so it stood out. Yeah, I think
that's really cool. She's she's curious, so curiosity seems to be like a theme here.
Sure. It is a theme.
But then also just she's a contributor. They seem like they were always looking for opportunities. How can I use what I have to make people around me better? Also, really quickly, when you said she shared her number, it was a little bit of Jersey. I heard for the first time ever. Just number.
What I was thinking is like she didn't talk to 100 people, but she talked to 2, and then so many people. Like that's a snowball effect.
Yes.
Like over 20 years, you reaching out to one person here at this game, and this person, this neighbor on your street, like eventually, like all of these people really care about you, and you have impacted their life.
Absolutely. So. I mean, I don't know if you've ever read Matthew McConaughey's book, which I mean,
Green Light. We talked about this.
That was my mom. So the book Green Light, I think, I mean, there are lots of components to it, but the biggest takeaway is like looking for and being open to opportunity. And so she was green lighting opportunities with people. And I think I talk about this with clients of all ages around like, what would happen if you said hello to your barista that every single time now they're the person you say hello to? That could change something. Who knows? That day they might say, does not mean you have to be the most outgoing. Just, hey, I'm going to this barista every time. And maybe the next time I say, how are the holidays? What is that green light for you? What does that open up? And I feel like she was looking to that. And I think my mom and her siblings and my dad is so like this as well in a different capacity. My dad's a little bit louder and maybe larger kind of personality in that way, but they're always thinking like, how can I give? How can I be a part of something? And being a part of a community is so critical to them. And so how can I intentionally build that? Where are the green lights, right? I mean, even when I was looking at job opportunities and postdocs, I talked to my dad. I mean, I had the opportunity of staying at the University of Miami. I had the opportunity of going to New York. I had job opportunities there. And I was like, remember Charlotte? And my dad's like, I love Charlotte. And he goes, I think it, basically my dad was like, I think this is your green light. Like, what if you reached out? What if you took that opportunity? And the whole reason being was my dad's like, I think you can build a community there. I think you can build a community of people. And as a professional, like growing up in a small community and then coming to a bigger city like Charlotte and having been here before, but it's different when you're an undergrad, right? It's just totally different. I think my parents were just so community focused, both of them, that my dad said, okay, well, where can you build yours? And how can you make that happen? And so, yeah, I think that is how people, that's how they did it, and why community was so important is from those green light moments, and certainly things that they passed on to us. And I'd say my brothers are the same way.
That's so cool. I just wanted to take a moment and honor your mom. The fact that that many people were gathered at your house when you arrived.
Oh,
that's
the
like
wake
a really
was
cool
like
thing.
thousands.
Wow.
I know. It was kind of incredible. So 50 were there the night that I got there and pull up and get to see my mom.
Yeah.
Mostly for the last time. And people, I kind of joke about this, but when you're a teenager, there are people that you might not want there. You're like, why are you? And they were there, right? And you're like, why are you here? And so, but yeah, I think my mom's presence allowed for all people. She accepted you. She connected with you. She valued that so deeply. And I think it brought everyone together. Yeah.
So you got to see her.
I did. Yeah.
That's
I got
really
to see her, and I always say this when I think about that moment, but I guess that summer I had come home. I came home after freshman year, and I was working, and I spent a lot of time with my mom. And we were talking about things that I needed going into the school year. And so when I got there that day, that night, it was that night, my mom said, "Did the bras fit?" That was her first question. I was like, yes, thank you for asking. Is that what we're going to talk about right now?
Yes.
Right now, we're going to talk about
number one
this.
on the list, Mom.
So she, I always say, like, I feel like she was always kind of connecting and curious and wondering and making sure that we were cared for literally until the very end, to the point where she was thinking about, did I have what I needed? So, but yeah, that's I think all of that led to how I'm here, and I think the way in which I provide services is certainly, I think, as much as like I've gone through significant, professional training, I think what I hope comes through in the work that I do is, the work that I had to do personally as well. Right. And I think the space that I try to set up, within the therapeutic context, because I think therapy can feel like stiff or medical. Or
certainly people who've never
doctor.
been, they think about it. And of course, depending who you go and see.
That's true.
Yeah.
Without question. There is still that stigma that, like, you mentioned earlier, like, I'm going to go talk to this stranger in this quiet room, and they're just like...
So intimidating.
Yes, like...
Yeah, and I think with adults, right, like kids, sometimes I say kiddos, but teens, almost adults.
Yes.
They are around adults all the time who are telling them what to do. And so you're just like this other adult that they think that. And so something that's really intentional about my office is like the walls are not white. The walls are blue. Maybe, hence the coloring that we have going on today.
Right.
But the walls are blue. It's intended to be comfortable. It's totally my style. Like, it's blues and greens and pinks, and there's a closet that's what I call my creative closet. So if I have people who want to draw and paint, and we use that, I have a side that's my competitive closet. So if we have games and building, right? And so, or we don't have to use anything, right? We can just kind of sit. But I think my growing up allowed me to know, like, okay, I'm going to intentionally engage with this person, and this person's therapeutic service is going to be evidence-based, right? Rooted and really working effectively on the things that they're coming in with, but it's going to be with this person.
Right.
And that's really critical to me. And I think I tell my clients all the time, this is a relationship. It is a therapeutic relationship. And it is important that we acknowledge that this is a relationship. Now, it's a different relationship than your friends and your parents and a romantic partner, but it's a relationship. And in here, I'm going to try my best to understand what you need. But if I miss, tell me. My clients know, like, Dr. Martinez, that did not work. My teens do not like deep breathing, but by the time they're adults, they're like, wait a second, that whole deep breathing thing actually works. I'm like,
That's
yeah.
So funny.
But they'll tell me, right? And I think we set up probably, from my mom, from my dad, like having this like very relational, and I think how it shows up in my practice is I'm very much focused on the relationship, because I think it's the only way for them to trust, like, I'm on your team, I'm on your side, and yet this thing that you're telling me with your friend doesn't seem to maybe be working. So what skills can we put into place, right? Yeah. And they trust me, right, to know, okay, she's not going to criticize me. This is helpful. Like, oh, yeah, maybe I did. Maybe my tone and timing was a little bit off, right? So let me just kind of think about this. Or, you know what? Maybe I am really bent out of shape that they're reposting certain things on TikTok, but maybe just acceptance of, let me just step away from their TikTok, acceptance that I've done what I can in this relationship. They may not change, but they can accept some of those like adjustments in the therapeutic context or skills or strategies because we've built the relationship. Right. And we're breaking down the fact that, like, I'm a doctor who's telling you what prescribing you with these coping skills, and said this is a relationship of trust and where we can really actually evoke change for you because we're in this together.
Right.
And it's specific to you.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think that I'm seeing a lot of stuff, and again, my algorithm is just so into obviously the things that I'm into, and so whether it's podcasts or whether it's these types of things, but this idea that information can be a replacement for relationship, and without question, information is transformative.
Sure.
But like. And moments can be transformative. Thinking about your Kesem experience, that's why we love camp so much. Camp creates this time away, the space away, and a new rhythm and a chance to slow down and maybe consider some things without the noise that maybe you wouldn't have the opportunity to consider otherwise. But yeah, information is not a replacement for relationship, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a part of psychoeducation that happens in the therapeutic context. It's not the part that I think comes with change.
Right.
I can inform you why, around and provide psychoeducation, which really just means providing education about a psychological concept.
Right. Like a lot of stuff we do, even tier 1 stuff that we're trying to do, at least, in an informal sense at schools.
And it's really great.
Yeah.
It's important. But it's step 1,
yes.
right? Like, I mean, so that is something that they can hear. And I think it is so critical. I mean, what you all do is so impactful, right? At that like tier 1 level. But then we shake out, like if you think about the sand, you shake out and then you see who's left. And those kids might need the next step of like, okay, I got the psychoed, but now I need this relationship. What am I doing? And so when I talk with parents, when they say like, okay, what's this process? They're new here.
Yeah.
I have teens who are like,
question. What's
I'm
this
not,
process?
and or like, I'm new to therapy. I'm bad at therapy. I hear this. Like, I'm bad at therapy. I'm like, how? We did, like all sorts of stuff, right? Like there's just, and many people, I mean, I've been providing services to teenagers since 2016, starting in my master's program. I was at a high school.
Yeah.
And so I've heard this times 10, right? The process for me, and everybody's a little bit different, is I'd like to meet with your child 4 to 6 times in a row so we can start to build this foundation. We need to build the relationship. At which point I'll connect with the parents. I'm not sharing so much around, and this has evolved over time. Like it used to be like no parents at all. Then I'm like, okay, now parents. And I feel like where I am now in the practice is we're going to meet 4 to 6 times so I can build this relationship with your child that they can start undoing all of the, like, this is an adult. What does this mean? All these kind of pieces. And then I'll meet with the parents and say, hey, based on what I'm hearing, I'm thinking we're every other week, or I'm thinking we're once a week, or I think we're once a month. I'm kind of developing the plan from there. I think sometimes parents go like, is this going to be once a week forever? No.
Yeah.
I also very much have seasons of life with kids, right? Where we are in a season of life of college applications for the high schoolers. So some of my high schoolers I'm not seeing at all because this season of life is making it challenging to come in because of these applications. But then I have some that I need to be here every week because of the applications, right? And so we can monitor. Again, it goes back to the individual. So really my process is let's build the relationship. Build the rapport, build the understanding, build the trust, kind of break the stigma. What does this whole therapy thing mean? I'm now telling you, you can correct me, the doctor, right? This adult. That didn't work.
That didn't work.
We're breaking that down. So now we can go, okay, what are treatment goals? What are we really working on here? And so when they come in and say like, this is so frustrating, they trust me and I can go, well, what if? Might we? Is this working? All of these kind of pieces, and they know we're in it together.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how my process in the therapeutic context works, is really kind of focused on let's build that first. And that's when it's been most successful. Those are my clients who are like, I've made all these friends, or now I'm not feeling, the AP exams do not have power over me, or I'm no longer just, feeling sick prior to school, or all of these different, or parents are going, they're talking to me at home. And that is when I think it really works, right? That's when we see a lot of change.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think with any change in any realm, right? Like it does need to be the correct information. In this evidence-based piece, obviously, it has to be something that actually truly works. But then little tools that you can be implemented in little ways over time with support seems to be, I don't know, the way I've experienced change. I think most people I know, it's the way they've experienced any significant change.
Yeah.
So that makes so much sense to me, what you're saying.
And I think, my work is very much like grounded in acceptance commitment therapy, which is very focused on, which is just for any parent or child that's listening going, does psychology have alphabet soup? Yes.
My gosh.
It is so, I mean, like, how do we break down these words? That could be a whole nother conversation.
Sure.
But acceptance commitment therapy, what I say is it is focused on the value of the individual. Now, children or adolescents or teens may have different values than parents. But if we can start to understand their values, then we can start to, talk about decision making. Okay, your value is physical health. That's really important because I work with a lot of athletes, right? You want to be at your top physical health. You are at a decision point and you're at a party. And somebody says you have to drink this alcohol, right? And you have to do this, and you don't be lame, whatever. I don't think they say lame anymore because I sometimes use that example, and they're like, we don't use that. I'm like, okay, but you get it.
You get what I'm saying, though.
You get to now have a decision point because we've talked about this value of being like, all right, yes, I care about being around people socially. That is, but it's not as big of a value as physical health. So now I can decision make and go, yeah, man, I'm good tonight. I have a game tomorrow, even if you don't. Whatever that is, but you can go, I have this value. And so that's really where is growing that autonomy for them so that they can have that like grounding to go back to that I think is so important. And that's really the way that we focus on therapy. It's not come in and be sad. It's not like you have to have a dead mom, right, to come and talk to me. You can. Sometimes a bonus, no. But like, I think we're really talking about like you and what matters to you so that it can help you live a more fulfilled life.
Yeah.
And I think we can all
thrive.
benefit from
That's
that.
the dream, right?
Yeah.
That everybody's thriving.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
So it's like, as we wrap,
Sure.
you have some big things coming. Like, this has been a big year for you and some big things coming. So really quickly, tell everybody what's happened over these last 12 months in your world, because there's like at least 3 big things that I know of.
Okay, maybe I'll hit them. I mean, the big thing for me, I'm so I love talking about the work that I do, and that is so important to me, being a psychologist. But the hat that I wear that is even more important to me is like being a part of like my family, and I am kind of moving into this new phase of life of building my own family. So I was just got engaged, which is probably the biggest thing for me, and I have such an incredible partner who comes along. So I think what I got to watch happen in my parents, this like teammate, I so have that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, sometimes I think I'm a little bit more of my dad at times, than my mom. But I think what's been really cool is like, as I make these professional steps, when you come out of grad school, you kind of hit the ground running and you're be like, okay, I need to focus on being professional. But I have a partner who he is just alongside for the ride. He is my biggest supporter. He listens to my creative ideas when I'm like, I have 15 book ideas and I want to write them all right now. Like I want them to happen. And so that's been really incredible. So we're building that part of our family. And then we just bought a house. So that's been really cool. And for me, like I think kind of in line with my parents is like being a part of the Charlotte community is so important. I think like we love giving back to the community and being a part of it in any way that we can. So, we are Giddy Goat regulars, which is a coffee shop
this
nearby.
Amazing coffee shop here.
Because that's where we want to make sure that we're giving back. Or we're shopping at Willow, which is a boutique, down the street from us who are Two Plaza, resident. All of these things, right?
Yeah,
so like we're
that.
Connecting with people in our community and I think buying the house allowed that for us is that we're like, okay, we're here. Like, we're all in on Charlotte. Like, it's really, really important to us.
And we are excited that you're all in.
Yeah,
that
we
you're
are.
not going anywhere.
Like, we're all in. And I convinced him, right? I got a Miami comedian into the Charlotte space. So I'm glad that there's a close airport.
Yes,
because that convinced him. And then the third part is I just opened up my own practice. And that's been really cool. And I think it goes back to what my dad and I had talked about when I was thinking about my job. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad owns his own business. All of my aunts and uncles pretty much own their own business. And I think it was inevitable. It came quicker than I think I originally had thought.
I would imagine. Yeah.
But the Charlotte community allowed for it. It's just been
so cool.
so incredible. The schools are fantastic. Organizations like yourself, the families, they're so invested. I mean, I'm really just so impressed by the parents and the students. Like I have students who call, hey, can I come to therapy? I'm like, sure. Like I was not calling at 14, asking for that. And so I'm like, yes, and get your parents on the phone. Yeah. But, We have some legal things that we need to talk through. Yeah. But yeah, all that to say, I think it is really just showing like the Charlotte community is so powerful and community is so powerful. And I feel so lucky to be here that has allowed me to be engaged and thrive, to buy a house and thrive, and now to have a practice in the South Park area and serve families and a community who I think is seeing the value in mental health.
Sure.
I do both therapy and testing. So I have, it's like psychoeducational testing or neurodevelopmental diagnoses testing, and they value it and they're coming. And it's really cool to have both a professional and personal stake in the Charlotte community. And I've really just loved it, and it's been a great year so far.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we were thinking about the same three things, so I'm glad that.
Okay. I'm like, was there something else?
No, nothing else that I could think of. But no, we're just thankful for you.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to have you around, and it's so fun to be able to call on you, and you're just always willing to lean in despite how busy your life is. You are still very much that achiever, like you still are, and you are able to be both. And I think that was we talked about a lot of cool, meaningful things just kind of came out during this. Yeah. But this idea that you can you can be this emotional human being and this performer. But I don't know. We're just thankful for you and so excited for you. So excited to watch our relationship as an organization and your services and your knowledge, expertise evolve, and you continue to help us make us better.
So you're coming to next?
Yeah, you'll be at our conference in March, which is really cool. Both, she's doing Atlanta as well.
Atlanta and Charlotte. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm really
really
excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you told me before I even asked you that you were coming.
Oh, I was excited.
Because Whitney's sister, you were sitting with her at the
fundraiser. You're at the shared table.
Yeah, you're at a table, and you came up and you're like, oh, by the way, I'm coming to both Charlotte and
whether you want me there or not. Yeah.
Well, we do.
I was going to tell you something.
You're like, we didn't really want you there, but no, I mean, I think because coming from this like needing to know there's both, right? The being a high performer and the emotion, I think next allows for that. Is I think you all are talking to a lot of high performing people
really are. The groups
at
that
these
happen
top
to be
levels, and this is who I love to support. It's like, yes, you can achieve, but you can also have feelings, and it's important. And actually, you'll see that you'll achieve more.
Exactly.
Not just like this achievement of getting an A, but achieve relationships and understanding of self and all of that if we can bring in both. And so I'm excited that we'll be able to kind of spread the word here in Charlotte and in Atlanta, because I think the and is really important.
Yeah. And you're going to be a part of why it grows here. So we're thankful.
Sure.
But
well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no kidding. You gave up time today. We're so thankful you came on the podcast.
I appreciate you letting me, to chat into this microphone. I am a gabber, so I hopefully this is how we wanted it to go. But I just I appreciate the space and time to kind of tell you a little bit about my family and most of, my mom in particular.
Yeah,
she's always a fun gal to talk about. So I just appreciate it.
And shout out Camp Kesem.
Yeah, I am on the advisory board of Camp Kesem UNC.
Cool. Okay.
My brother is actually a counselor there, so we're still very much involved. If you are a family who knows of someone in your life, because we're all impacted by cancer in some way, that have children who had a parent going through the journey, look across the nation. So here, closest to Charlotte is UNC has an organization, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and but I actually just recently was Giving Tuesday. I recently posted something about Camp Kesem, and I had someone say, oh, my niece and nephew are in Connecticut, and they went to Yale's Camp Kesem. So they're all over. So if you get anything from this, which is, hey, I know someone that is going through this, Camp Kesem is really powerful, and take a look. So cool.
Well, we'll put your website in the show notes and all that stuff so they can at least reach out to you even, but awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.